आज की वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे अबाउट राहुल जर्नी टू कनाडा। कैसे उन्होंने अपनी फ्लाइट मैनेज करी ड्यूरिंग दिस कोविड फेज, कौन सी फ्लाइट थी, कैसी फ्लाइट थी, लैंडिंग के बाद क्या हुआ, इमिग्रेशन ऑफिसर ने क्या क्या पूछा, उनका क्वारंटीन एक्सपीरियंस, उनका जॉब सर्च एक्सपीरियंस, और अकेले ट्रैवल कर रहे थे या फैमिली के साथ, और भी बहुत कुछ। सो वॉच दिस वीडियो टिल द एंड बिकॉज इफ यू आर प्लानिंग टू कम टू कनाडा, दिस वीडियो इज फॉर यू and you will be very well prepared before landing. Thank you, Rahul, for joining us at Indo-Canadian Couple and sharing your experience with us.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting, first of all.
What were your concerns, before traveling, and about your COPR expiry date and stuff, and which flight did you take?
Starting with my experience, I had received my COPR in the month of, I think, end of Jan or Feb first week, right? And my COPR was about to expire in the month of August. To be specific, it was 28th of August, right? Unfortunately, all of us know very well that we had this pandemic which ruined a lot of things and a lot of plans for us. So I had to continue with my job, and then I had to look for I think by March 25th or 26th, all the flights were cancelled. So looking at the entire scenario, I thought it's better to continue with the job, and I was also kind of keeping myself updated with the news around the aviation sector in India, just to understand which segment of people are allowed to fly in Canada and which are not. Now, when I decided to fly, by the end of May or June, I took a call of that this is the right time to fly, probably because I was continuously seeing a lot of updates on IRCC, and I was following up with IRCC as well. I used to ask them on if I need an authorization letter along with my existing COPR details and the passport. But I'm sure even for a fact that IRCC was not really responding immediately.
Right.
I reached out to a lot of agencies like IRCC, like the DGCA, the Canadian Embassy, on platforms like Facebook, Twitter, just in order to get information about if I could fly, right? Because as per the notification that was provided by IRCC, all those who had a valid COPR which was approved prior to 18th of February were allowed to fly. However, a lot of airlines were not allowing the COPR, immigrants or immigrants with PR status to fly to Canada. So yeah, that was a struggle. I eventually booked my tickets in the month of July. It was around 25th or 26th of July when I kind of booked my tickets, and the only options that were available with me were Lufthansa and one more else. So I preferred Lufthansa. It was also an economical option, hence I went ahead with it. But what happened is that during the time of booking, it was nowhere mentioned on the website that they will not allow people with COPR status. In fact, after my booking, after I was done with my booking, after a week or so, they updated on the website that only if you have a COPR which is approved prior to 18th of March, and also you have a spouse living in Canada, shall they allow to board the airplane. So that was kind of a bummer for me because I was not expecting it, especially after booking the tickets. So yeah, eventually I took Lufthansa, and I kind of chased them a lot on all the social media platforms, kind of trying to figure out if I would be allowed or no. I used to call them up daily on their customer care number, but as usual, no one used to, kind of show up or receive the calls.
I guess there was a lot of hustle, even just before your flight.
Yeah.
कितना hustle आपने already झेल लिया था तब तक?
बहुत ज़्यादा हसल हो गया था. काफी दिक्कत हो रही थी बिकॉज लुफ्तांसा से कोई रिप्लाई नहीं कर रहा था, डीजीसीए से कोई आपको रिप्लाई नहीं कर रहा था, एम्बेसी से आपको भी इनफैक्ट एम्बेसी से मुझे एक जनरिक रिप्लाई मिला, बट इट वाज वेरी मोटिवेटिंग. द रिप्लाई वाज दैट वी आर अलाउइंग ऑल द सीओपीआर एस्पिरेंट्स टू फ्लाई. They
Right.
specifically mentioned the fact that, also we have spoken to the airlines, or we have instructed the airlines to allow these passengers to board.
Right.
So I kind of took that printout with me, because that was, I thought that is the boarding pass that I need with me.
Right.
So I took that printout. Also on IRCC's website, they had specifically mentioned that, you are exempt from flying. All those foreign nationals who have a valid COPR approved before 18 March are exempt for flying. So I took a
Right.
printout of that as well. I had a proper quarantine plan. Now in the pandemic, if you need to fly to Canada, they need a proper quarantine plan, which mentions about the fact, where would you be staying, how would you manage your expenses, how would you travel from the airport to your destination, how would you
Right.
manage medical supplies if in case
Right.
required,
Right.
how would you manage grocery. So I prepared a detailed quarantine plan mentioning all these aspects, and I shared it with IRCC, through the web form.
Right.
Also, I kind of had a printout of how would I manage my expenses. So I had my proof of fund, a scan copy of my proof of funds, and also I just to be a little more precautious, I also took a scanned copy of my recent statement, bank statement. So
Right.
just
So
with the thought.
did you get any response from IRCC, the web form which you filled for this?
Well, yes, I did receive a response from them, but it was a very generic response, where they mentioned the fact that, since your application is already approved, we may not be able to do anything on the application right now.
Now tell us about your experience at the airport. So when you flew from Delhi or Bombay?
No, I flew from Mumbai.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So how was the experience at Mumbai airport? How were they maintaining social distancing, and did your flight have a middle seat empty when you flew?
When I went to the airport, I was really worried about the fact if I would be allowed to board on the plane, because I was following a lot of other aspirants as well on social media platforms, right? And the kind of experiences that they had was really terrifying. That they were not allowed to board, they were asked to board at a later stage, or rebook their tickets. Their tickets were cancelled. But then I
Mm-hmm.
still took a chance. I said, let's एक बार देखते हैं क्या होता है. So I went
Right.
ahead with all these scanned copies, my passport and everything, to the airport, and to my surprise, they did allow me. Well, they were checking each and every document that you have, so it's extremely important to kind of have a set of documents with you, so that you can show it to them as and when required. They were checking each and every document. They were also speaking to their associates, to the senior associates. So they were very careful about who they are allowing to board, and who is allowed and who is not allowed. So yeah, that happened with me. Social
So
distancing, I would say,
where was this checking done?
immediately when you try to get your boarding pass, right? The
Okay.
moment
So
you
this is
enter.
the airlines counter you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, just before the even before the airlines counter, they have a separate queue.
Okay.
So
All right.
before you reach the counter, they have a separate queue where they will individually ask you for what purpose are you flying, what category of immigrant you are.
Right.
Probably you could be someone with work visa or student visa or PR visa. So
Right.
they are asking all of these questions. On social distancing, I would say people were maintaining, but I mean, obviously they are not
Right.
people are not sticking to social distancing as such. But yeah, everyone had their masks on. Yeah, so that is one thing, and you would find
Right.
sanitizers all around. So less
Right.
number of beverages, but more sanitizers at the
Right.
airport.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what happened is when you are at when you are just waiting before the booking counter, the boarding counter, they will check your documents. They will check your documents. They will check each and every documents. They will check if the documents are authentic. And if they have received some information from the DGCA, or for that matter Ministry of Home Affairs, or civil aviation, then they will not allow you. So they were talking to their seniors, and trying to understand and confirming with them if this certain category of immigrant is allowed or not to board the plane. So once you get a
Okay.
go ahead from them, only then can you proceed to the you are allowed to proceed to the boarding counter, and
Okay.
then they would check your details or check your passport and your COPR, and then they gave me my boarding pass. So that process was a little easy for me. Once I received my boarding pass, I just had to pass the security counter. Even the security counter was not really messy. The whole experience was quite okay, I would say. Yes, but they were checking a lot of things. They were checking elaborately. After that, once you reach the immigration counter, what happens is they would ask you in detail about your purpose of flying to Canada. They would also check your documents and see if the documents have expired or no. So what I also know for a fact that in case if you have an authorization letter, they will definitely check your authorization letter date and the validity mentioned in the authorization letter.
Right.
So it's extremely important to have your set of documents with you, and in case if the documents are very recent, it will really help. So they asked me about my purpose of flying to Canada. They asked me about the PR status that I have. When did I receive it? If I'm allowed or no. They also asked me about general stuff. They would ask you general stuff about what education have you pursued, and in which field do you intend to probably get a job or continue with your specialization. So all of these stuff. Where would you intend to? In which province are you flying? What is it? Do you have an accommodation there or no? All these general
Right.
questions. Right.
Right.
Once you are done with that, once you're through with that, I think then there's nothing stopping. Then I was allowed to board the aeroplane, and once I was on the flight, I think as far as I remember, so Lufthansa had a 242 sequence, right? And my seat was placed just beside someone else, so I would say no, we were sitting together.
Okay.
In the middle section, probably they were maintaining some sort of a social distance, but not in all of those. Yeah,
Not in the interview.
yeah.
And what about the food in the aircraft? Was it served hot, and how is it?
Yeah,
Or you carried
Lufthansa.
your own stuff?
No, I wasn't carrying my own food.
All right.
Yeah. So when I was flying from Mumbai airport, it was around 2:30 or 3 a.m. In the morning, midnight, right? So at that point of time, even the counters were closed. Something that you will notice at airports nowadays, that most of the counters will be closed, and they are adhering to all those social distancing norms and everything. Now, apart from that, when I was in the flight, what happened is they were extremely insistent on probably having your mask, maintaining social distance, not throwing the garbage, or not throwing
Yeah.
any crap here and there. They're extremely careful about that. In case if the air hostess or the crew would come across, and they would always instruct you to wear your masks properly. Even if you would wear your mask a little away from your nose, they would be extremely stringent about, and persistent about keeping your mask in the proper way. So the food was served hot. I would suggest anyone has to fly, please do fly Lufthansa. The food was amazing. They had a lot of options, and they would also serving alcohol, and the food was really great. So it was
So
served hot.
in-flight experience was pretty good.
In-flight experiences was absolutely, at least with Lufthansa, it was really good. It was really good.
Right, right. Good. And what about your landing experience? मतलब landing के बाद और उससे पहले क्या हुआ? As in the flight, were you given any forms? And after you land, how was the whole process? Kiosk में जाना पड़ा, उसके बाद officers से मिले. How was it all about?
Yeah, so I had a layover at Frankfurt, Germany.
Okay.
So all those passengers who were probably who were landing in Germany, or they wanted to fly from Germany to some other city, probably something like some place like Berlin or somewhere else, they were given a detailed form. They had to fill the form. I assume these forms would be helpful in contact tracing. So they were given a form. They were asked to enter all the details regarding their passport, regarding where do they intend to fly, their details, all their information, passenger information was asked from them. So once they filled out the entire form, it was again given to the crew members. So someone who had a layover in Frankfurt, all those who had a layover in Frankfurt, I had a very short layover. It was just 2 hours.
Mhm.
So I had to manage everything very quickly. So the moment we landed at Frankfurt, I would tell you it's a huge airport. It's a huge airport. There are two different terminals, and the time limit that I had was very short. I had to, just run quickly. Something that I figured out at Lufthansa at Frankfurt Airport is that there were not a lot of counters. So we kind of experienced a lot of issues there at Frankfurt because the kind of the security checking that happens at Frankfurt Airport is extensive.
Mhm.
What they would do is, in case if you're carrying any handbag with you, they would open the entire handbag. In case if they see any liquid or if they see any medications with you, they would kind of remove the entire packaging, and they would check each and every medicine one by one. So anyone who would be flying who has a layover from Frankfurt, I would suggest, or I would recommend, keep a detailed list of things that you're carrying with you, at least in your handbag, because you will have to justify. Also, for the fact, in case you are carrying medicines for any reasons whatsoever, it is extremely important that you have a letter from the medical practitioner, right, which is signed and stamped, because
Mhm.
they do check that as well. If in case you
Right.
do not have a medical letter, your entire baggage of medicines will be discarded.
I
Right.
also want to tell to all the people here that medical prescriptions are not mandatory, but then yes, you should have it. Even if
Yes.
you do not fly through Frankfurt and you fly through any other airport,
Yeah.
that you should keep it with you because that can be asked at any given point of time at any airport.
Absolutely.
Any official could ask you that.
Yeah, especially if you are carrying anything which is more related to cough syrups or syrups which have some sort of relaxants in them. In that case, you definitely need a letter from the medical practitioner. So yeah, what happened with us in Frankfurt is we had to pass a couple of security arrangements, and the kind of experience that we had was really terrifying, because within those 2 hours we had to manage the boarding of other flight as well. So my connecting flight was with Air Canada, so we had to manage that as well, and we were just left with hardly 20 minutes of time in order to board the other flight, because in order to travel from one gate to another, you need to take a transit train.
Oh
And
God.
the transit, not even one terminal to another terminal, from one gate within the terminal to other gate within that same terminal, you have to take a transit train, which takes about 3 to 4 minutes. However, reaching the transit train is a task in itself. Clearing all those security arrangements and reaching there was a task, and then but still we managed to reach our boarding counters at for Air Canada.
And
And
I hope your baggage was checked through from
yes, yes,
Mumbai
yes.
to
From
Canada direct.
Mumbai, yes, it was done from Mumbai
Okay.
to Canada directly. So I did
That
not have
that's
to
how I
really.
suppose you made it. Otherwise, I wouldn't. I cannot.
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
Otherwise, it would have been really difficult for me to board that flight. I would have to board another
Right.
flight. But knowing the
Right.
fact that I was flying just a day before my expiry of my
Right.
COPR,
That was scary. Yeah. That
yeah,
is
that
scary.
was scary. It was running in my at the back of my mind. It was continuously something that was I was worried about. So what happens at Mumbai? They will ask you and they will give you those tags for your check-in luggage. So you
Right.
don't really have to worry about anything regarding your check-in luggage,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, so at Frankfurt, I was left with just 20 minutes of boarding time, but then we were able to board the flight. However, something that I would want to inform here was the boarding pass that I received from Mumbai airport. It was also for Air Canada flight, but then I had to get a new boarding pass again.
Okay.
They were not allowing me with the boarding pass that was issued to me at Mumbai airport. They were issuing me,
Okay.
they had to issue me a new boarding pass. And once I had
Mhm.
the boarding pass, I went ahead and I boarded my flight. With Air Canada, I would say Air Canada was not a very great experience in terms of food and the kind of hospitality that we had. So it was not really great. I am sure they can definitely up their game and improve the quality of hospitality and stuff.
I
So
hope
yeah.
someone is listening from Air Canada.
I hope so. If they are, then I would again fly with you. It's not that I. So yeah, but then
Good.
in terms of adhering to all the norms of social distancing and mask, even Air Canada was bang on. They were extremely persistent, and they were insisting each and every passenger. They would personally come to the passenger, inform them about all the social distancing norms. All right. Something that I would want to inform all the listeners and viewers here is, while you are, in your flight, the Air Canada crew would hand over a form to you. Even that is
Right.
required for contact tracing. In the form, you will have to mention all your details regarding where do you intend to, proceed. Where is your accommodation? Details about your check-in luggage, in case if you're carrying cash, in case if you're carrying any other hazardous material. So all of this information is required to be submitted during the flight itself. Apart from
Mhm.
that, something that you can do in case if you would want to avoid the form is download the ArriveCan app. It's extremely
Mhm.
important. It will save a lot of time once you have landed at Canadian airport. It will save you a lot of time because one if you have an ArriveCan app, you need to fill all your details. I think 48 hours just prior to your flight, just prior to your
Mhm.
landing, and even that would ask you all the details about your flight, your luggage, what is the quarantine plan, where do you intend to quarantine yourself, how will you manage your stuff. So all of this information is taken down in that application itself. In case, however, if you're not able to download the app, you will still get a form while you're in the flight, just before the landing, and you'll have to fill in all your details. Also, it is advisable to not carry more than $10,000 Canadian dollars, because if at the immigration, at the
In cash.
counter, yeah, at the counter, if you're apprehended by the CBSA, which is Canadian Border Service Agency, and at the customs, if they are asked, if they're asking, how did you manage to get this amount of huge money, and if you're not able to provide any justification to them, then not just your entire money would be seized by them, you will also be penalized heavily for it. So in
Okay.
my case, what I did, I was not carrying anything in cash. I had some in Indian cash. In case if I had to probably convert it, I would have converted it at the airport itself. But I was carrying some Indian cash, and I was also carrying my international debit and credit card both. So I was
Right.
not carrying any forex card or traveler's check, but in case people would want to do that, they can surely do that. It is advisable. But I was just carrying the international debit, the Visa cards with me, and some cash. So not advisable to carry a huge amount of cash. I think $2,000 to $3,000 would be good enough for you to probably manage your travel from the airport to your accommodation, for and
Right.
manage for some amount of time. Yeah. So once I landed at the airport, we had to submit that form that was provided to us. We had filled in all the details, all the passenger details, everything regarding what sort of luggage or what are we carrying in our luggage. Once that was done, we handed over the forms to the staff at the airport after landing. Once that was done, immediately you are asked, basis your COPR document, you are asked to enter a separate queue altogether, and you are sent to the immigration. You sent to at the immigration counter. At the immigration counter, yes, there was a waiting queue. There was a good amount of waiting queue, but they had segregated it very well. They were maintaining it very well. All the people with student visa were asked to probably merge with some other queue. People with work visa were asked to merge with some other queue, and COPR had a separate queue for immigration services. So once you're at the immigration counter, the immigration officer will be checking all your details, your documents, your passport. So you when you receive a COPR, you receive two copies of the COPR, right?
Right.
One is supposed to be with you, and one is supposed to be submitted at the immigration counter. So at that point of time, the immigration officer will ask you a lot of questions. Extremely important to know that they will ask you everything about your stay at Canada, your purpose of coming to Canada. Uh,
Mhm.
Apart from that, what education have you pursued, and how long do you intend to stay in Canada? Because what happens is, at this particular point of time during the pandemic, it is specifically mentioned that you should fly to Canada only if you intend to settle down. You
Right.
cannot do a soft landing here. So be very careful at the airport, wherever at the immigration counter, be it Mumbai or be it Canada. You need to mention
Mhm.
the fact that you are here to settle down and work. So that is something that you need to tell them. Apart from that, they will also ask you about your accommodation. On your copy of the COPR letter, they will write down the entire address. They will take your signatures. and then eventually, if they are satisfied with your answers, only then will they give the stamp and approve your PR. They'll also, so on your letter it mentions that you've become a PR at this particular date, on this date, at this particular time. They'll ask you another questions like, have you ever been apprehended by the security agencies at your country, at your own country? Have you ever been to Canada earlier? So all of these questions will be asked. You will be grilled a little. In case, so what happened is, I also happened to experience this guy who was flying with me. He had a work visa, right? But I think apparently his documents were not authentic, or they seemed to be they did not seem to be proper to the immigration officer. So he was grilled. He was grilled in and out. He was asked a lot of questions. He was not even being allowed to enter Canada. He was told that you are not even supposed to fly to Canada. How did you land here? So extremely important to have your documents with you, valid documents. In case if you are coming here with a work visa, please do ensure that you have a document, an original copy from your employer. So that is extremely important, because they were not allowing people to pass through the immigration counter if the documents were not valid.
So did immigration officers, they checked your quarantine plan, or it was just verbal thing which they asked?
I also had a scanned copy of a printout of my quarantine plan, but they did ask me about my quarantine plan. How am I going to manage my expenses, or how am I going to manage the medical supplies? So you get a detailed information on IRCC website that in case if you're flying to Ontario, or in case if you're flying to British Columbia, where do you need to call, or where do you need to reach the medical authorities? So you can have that as a part. You can have that information as a part of your quarantine plan as well. That really helps a lot, because you're able to tell the immigration officer that in case if you feel that you are seeing some symptoms of COVID-19, then you would be contacting the authorities immediately. So yeah, that definitely helps. So you need to also have a printout of your quarantine plan with you. That's important.
Right. But then they did not take the printout from you. It is just they had asked verbally about it.
No. Yeah. They just asked verbally about it.
Right.
That's about it. They did not ask the printout.
And how did you manage to get from the airport to your Airbnb?
Yeah. So I was supposed to be what happened is, at the airport, I would say, once I was done with the immigration, immediately they would tell you that that you would receive your PR card in a span of say 4 to 6 weeks. That is what I was told. Apart from that, they would also ask you a lot of questions. In case you have any queries or doubts, it is always advisable to ask then and there itself. So something that I couldn't ask, and I would suggest everyone else to ask, is about your SIN number, your social insurance number. That is extremely important. Please do ask, in case if they can provide you the social insurance number then and there itself. So that is something that I couldn't do because I was not aware of it. So
SIN numbers are basically provided at the airport. So if the counter for SIN number is opened in the airport, you can get it. So that is what I think you should have looked for in the Toronto airport, whether the counters for SIN number is opened or not.
Yeah, so probably I was not aware of this information, so I did not ask it at the Toronto Pearson airport. So yeah, but then they'll clear all your doubts in case if you have any. They will tell you. They will also note down your address and take your signatures on that, because eventually your PR card will be mailed on that address. So ensure that the address that you're mentioning on that letter is correct. There are no mistakes on that, because in case there are mistakes, then you have to go to that hurdle and a lot of hustle again. So once I was done with the immigration,
so you had mentioned, you had mentioned the address of your Airbnb or your relative's address?
No, so I am put up with a friend, and so I had mentioned the address where I was about to accommodate myself. So I had mentioned that address here. In case if you're able to find an Airbnb accommodation, then it is always advisable to mention the Airbnb accommodation address there.
Right.
So when I was looking for flights and I was looking for accommodation, at that point of time, Airbnb options were not available, because all the arrangements were closed in Canada itself.
Right.
Yeah, so I couldn't manage that.
Right. Coming back to the same question, how did you manage from airport to your Airbnb?
Yeah. Yeah, so once I was done with the immigration thing, you come out, you take your luggage. Once you're out of the airport, there are a lot of, again, I would say there are a lot of options where you can probably purchase mobile card then and there itself, because in order to purchase a SIM card, it's always advisable that you purchase your SIM card immediately once you land, because you need an international number also. So there are a lot of counters there. There are a lot of telecom options like Chatter, Fido, Virgin Mobile. So you have the counters where you can get a SIM card just basis your COPR document and your passport. That's about
Okay.
it. Only these two information are required. Once you have it with them, once you share it with them, they'll probably provide you with a SIM card. But I eventually did not do that because I had some other arrangement with me. So I came to my accommodation or my friend's place because we had an own vehicle. We took our own vehicle. So I came from airport to the accommodation. I was in an own vehicle. Apart
Okay.
from that, people who wish to travel and they do not have an own vehicle, they can always opt for something like Uber or Lyft. Both these
Okay.
options are available. You can pre-book them, and
Right.
you can use these services.
Right. And what about insurance? Did you carry some insurance from India itself, or because as of now, in Ontario, it is like OHIP you're getting the moment you land. After quarantine, you can apply, and the moment you open your bank account, you can apply for your health insurance.
I did not carry anything from India because even I was aware of the fact that the 3 month initial there was a 3 month waiting
Right.
period for the OHIP, and now it has been waived off.
Right.
However, what happens is once you visit Service Ontario, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are different places like Service Ontario. These are government approved centers for
Right.
service on. These are provincial centers. Service of Ontario and Service Canada is your another center. It is a government center where you can apply, or you can talk to them about your PR card or your SIN number.
Right.
So at what I did was I went to the Service Canada Center, applied for my SIN, got my SIN immediately. I also went to the Service Ontario Center, but what happens is in order to apply for your health card, you need your address proof, you need your ID proof. ID proof was available with me because I have my passport. I also have my PR card. I received my PR card, by the way. I received
Right.
it in a span of
Oh,
2.5 weeks.
congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So you need your PR card. Also, you need an address proof. Now, address proof is something that may not be available with everyone right here. In case if you're leasing or you're renting an apartment, then your lease agreement or your rent agreement will be valid as an address proof. In case if you're coming here and staying with your friends or Airbnb, you don't have an address proof really. Uh,
Right.
but then apart from that, you can also get an Ontario photo ID card. You need to spend, I think, something around $35 to $40 in order to get that photo card that acts as your ID proof as well, in case you don't have any. But then once you open a bank account here in Canada, you will get a monthly statement. The monthly statement or your utility bills or your lease agreement, rent agreement, or your tax document that
Right.
acts as a proof of address here.
Okay.
If you do not have these documents, they will not entertain you at the Ontario Service Ontario for your health card. So
Right.
I wasn't carrying anything with me because I was aware of the fact that the waiting period has been waived off, and you will get your health card immediately. Apart from that, something very interesting is that even if you don't have a health card and you have recently landed in Canada, all your
Mhm.
expenses, in case if you happen to probably you know get COVID, or you see symptoms of COVID, all your expenses will be managed by Canadian government only. So that
Right.
is something
But
that
then,
you
but then this is limited only to COVID or other ailments as well.
no, this is only limited to COVID, not other
All right.
ailments, not other
Okay.
ailments at all. So, in case
Okay.
if you are down with COVID, if you're tested positive, COVID positive, then all your expenses will be managed by Canadian government.
All right.
But then all the other ailments, or in case if you have cough, cold, and everything else, then you'll have to probably wait for some time to get your health card. So in my case, I have already got some medicines with me, which I'll be able to kind of manage for the next 2 to 3 months. So I've got a good stock of medicines with me. Sorry. So I'll be managing in that way. But as you rightly mentioned, it's always advisable to have some or the other sort of insurance with you till the time you get your health card here in Canada.
Right. And how was your how was your quarantine experience? 14-day quarantine experience.
So 14-day quarantine experience, I would say, you kind of things start becoming very slow. You feel in your quarantine, you're just at your place. You're not even allowed to go out, not even go for a normal stroll outside. So even though you've come here to experience stuff, you experience the entire Canada and places here, but you'll not be allowed to do that for the first 14 days. It will be very difficult. So, but something that everyone can do is during the entire 14-day tenure, read a lot about the tax structure, the financial structures here. How do you open your bank accounts? What are the different bank accounts that they have? So it's important. It's extremely important to go through all this information and keep yourself updated. Also, something that you can do is kind of update your resume here, start applying for jobs, at least start giving interviews. That is something that you can do.
Right. So how is your job experience so far? I mean, have you applied for jobs?
Yes, I have been applying for jobs, and I've been relying on references as well. So that is still in the work in process phase. So
all right.
Yeah,
we wish you all the best for your job.
Thank you.
So
thank you so much. So anyone in Canada who's watching this right now, in case if you have any relevant job opportunities, let me know in marketing. Yeah.
Exactly. So you can also give us a shout out. What field are you looking at for jobs?
Well, I've done my master's in marketing, and I've been a part of the retail domain for a long time. So anyone in marketing, CRM, or customer relationship management, or customer retention management aspect or segment, please do let me know.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much for your information you shared with us, and we really wish you all the best for your new life in Canada.
Thank you so much, Puneet. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I wish and I hope that all the aspirants who are still there in India, they're kind of able to fly as soon as possible. So all the best to all of you guys.
Rahul was the lucky one to fly just one day before his COPR expired.
Probably yes.
And we wish all the people with expired COPRs get their AL as soon as possible, and they land in Canada with their journey as well.
Sure.
Right.
Happy to meet you guys. Once you're in Canada, please do let me know if we can connect. I know we shall surely meet.
Absolutely, Rahul. We'll definitely meet. All right, Rahul. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Puneet. Bye-bye. Take care.
अगर आपके पास भी कोई एक्सपीरियंस है शेयर करने के लिए which is different from today's story, DM me on Insta, Indo-Canadian couple. We will definitely put it up. Your story, your experience through YouTube to the world. अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक, शेयर और सब्सक्राइब जरूर कीजिएगा और बेल का आइकन दबाना बिल्कुल नहीं भूलना, because that is how you get notifications for our videos as soon as we upload them. Till we upload our next video, तब तक के लिए अलविदा.